What's up, everybody? This is Stacy Collier of Stacy on Sports, chilling with Noah Urudia. And why not start off 2024 with the national championship game? We finally got the matchup. Number one, Michigan going against number three, Washington. Washington has the number one passing offense in the country. Michigan has the number one overall defense in the country. So something got to give. We're going to break down the keys for both teams. We're going to give our key player, and we're going to pick the winner of the national championship game. Let's start with Michigan since they're the number one team. Noah, what are the keys for Michigan in this game?
Well, you said just now, man, number one overall defense in the country. I mean, you win games with a good defense, and when they stand their ground and give the key stops when they're needed. JJ McCarthy's been on fire too. That offense driving down the field. They dominated Alabama and came through with it. I think definitely the defense. I think definitely Jim Harbaugh being a defensive minded coach is definitely using to their advantage for the Wolverines. So yeah, I think those are the main keys for me that stand out for Michigan winning this, possibly winning this.
So, in general, you saying they just got to continue to play great defense like they've been all year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So yeah, that was my key to get more specific. They got to slow down this passing game of Washington. They never seen a quarterback all year quite like this. They never seen a passing offense quite like this. The closest they've seen was Ohio State's, with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyle McCord, who shook to Syracuse. But otherwise they haven't really faced a dynamic quarterback all year. So that passing defense definitely gonna be key. I looked at their stats. The passing defense only gives up 150 yards in the air. 150.
Crazy.
And in total for the points per game, they're leading the nation in 9.5. 9.5. Wow.
Barely over a touchdown. That's crazy.
Yes, barely over a touchdown. That is insane. So definitely they got to keep that up. They got to be on their P's, Q's, R's, and S's versus Washington in the passing offense, their passing game. Another key for me for Michigan is they should ride Blake Corum. They're running back well over 1,000 yards this year.
Mm-hmm.
I know JJ McCarthy, he's dynamic. He can pick up yards himself on the ground. He's passing, but want to make things easier for him in this game, especially with the high energy, high voltage that's going to start the game. So you want to run the ball, establish a good pace. Washington defensively, they do give up 133 yards on the ground per game. Mm-hmm. So you can gash them. That's where Blake Corum going to come into play. And then once that get established, you hit them hard with the run, take the top off the defense. JJ McCarthy knows how to spread the ball around. Or, he could pick up the yards himself on the ground. So definitely running the ball for Michigan is going to be key. I'm still a thinker when it comes to running the ball in big games, especially in championship games. Do not abandon the run game, either team, but especially for Michigan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very good point you bring up, actually, Stacey. I remember seeing roughly some of the highlights that were shown on TV as well. From the Michigan and Alabama game, and they were just straight running the ball down the throat. The linemen were like just putting their blocks on, and they making it like giving the running back the holes they need to run through and room to run. So it was definitely a plus for that offense for sure. And I will hope to see how that will translate to this game against Washington.
All right, you definitely got to win in the trenches in any game. In any game, you got to win in the trenches. Yep. All right, let's go ahead and switch things over to Washington. They're the underdog kind of the underdog in this game. 4.5 is the point spread. So for Washington to pull off the quote unquote upset, Noah, what do they have to do in this game?
Well, I think it starts with, enough said, with Michael Penix, getting him through, getting him dialed in with the deep ball accuracy. He's been going dropping dimes is crazy. If they don't have him going, they don't have much to work with, I feel like. So Definitely having him locked in is definitely a plus and a key factor in this game. I also think that if their secondary is all healthy, that's very important for that defense because their secondary's been solid through most of this year, and they made very clutch plays at the end of that the Sugar Bowl against Texas. And yeah, I think that's a very good, very important key factor in that defense as well. That's been kind of struggling for the run game. So for that to make up in the pass game, that would be working out well for them.
For me, for Washington, they have to hit the big plays on offense. They're going up against a defense here like they've never seen all year before. Matter of fact, they have not faced a top 10 defense all season. The closest they faced was Oregon, who's 12, I think. Nationally, I think they're ranked 12th, and then Texas wasn't too far behind. But they haven't seen a defense like this. So those plays that they're used to getting, especially in the air, will probably not be there. So, run the ball, take the check downs, take the small things, build up on your offense, put in some little trickery, do some little play action, RPO, whatever you got to do to get Michael Penix unleashed because, Michigan, they're going to be coming after him. And like you said, if Michael Penix can't hit any of the plays, he can't get those yards, they're going to have a rough time. Yep. They're definitely going to have a rough time. Ask Ohio State, who has a good passing offense. So, right. So that's definitely going to be key for them. So, big plays on offense. And, of course, on defense, don't let Blake Corum get those tough yards on the ground. Limit his yards per carry, around 3 or 4. Make it very minimal. Make J.J. McCarthy have to improvise. Don't give up the big plays too, because Michigan can hit a big play on you. Their offense is not like Washington's, not like Ohio State's, but you got to be careful because they have it in them. They have that big game in them. Yeah, they have it in them. So those are the keys for both teams, for Michigan and for Washington. Now, player to watch. Who are the players to watch? I want to start this off for Washington. I'm looking for Washington. I'm looking for the running back, Dillon Johnson. No, of course, it's easy to talk about Michael Penix. Odunze, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. The wide receiver, Roman. It's easy to talk about them, but I think Dillon Johnson is important. He's a 1,000-yard back too. Got over 1,100 yards this year, 16 touchdowns. Now, he did hurt him. He did, get an injury to his leg towards the end of the game, which that was a crazy end. And
that was
talking
really
about
close, man.
Close. Yeah.
Wow.
But, if he's healthy, use him. Run the ball with him. Like I said, when you get into these big games, do not abandon the run. Even if you get 3 yards, 2-3 yards at a time, keep pounding the ball. You never know. Wear down that defensive line on any team. Mm-hmm. So he's definitely going to be my key player to watch. He probably won't be the player of the game, but he's definitely going to be important. So I got Dillon Johnson of Washington. Who you got?
For Washington, I got my eye on Jalen McMillan, receiver, number 11, junior. And the reason why, because I watched the Sugar Bowl last week, and he only had, I know his stats aren't crazy. He only had like 5 catches for like 80 yards and a touchdown. But still, I remember all those catches came on the most clutch plays and the clutch sequences in part of the game where it's like 3rd and long and 2nd and long, and that's like after a sack or a penalty, and then they're right back into tempo. So I feel like and his he didn't miss a lot of passes either. He didn't drop a lot of any balls from what I've seen. So I think the consistency in him that I see in him is very key in carrying the momentum for this Washington team to drive.
Any key players for you from Michigan?
Kenneth Grant, that's the guy. Number 78, D tackle or D lineman. He had 2.5 sacks against Alabama. That D line is crazy, and the blitz is just very, very fearful. There's a lot of defensive players I like watching in that squad this year. But if I had to pick one, I feel like my gut's telling me that's going to be one hell of a game for him. especially when it comes down to crunch time. And Washington tries to run those RPOs, those creative trick plays they tried running against Texas. So yeah, my eyes on him.
Right. For me, I'm looking for Jalen Harrell and Josiah Stewart, their defensive ends. Those are two leading defensive ends. Harrell has 6.5 sacks on the season. Stewart has 5.5. Like I said, like we both agreed upon, Michael Penix Jr. is fantastic. He leads the nation in passing. He was a Heisman candidate. He was a Heisman candidate for a reason. So they got to get home. They got to get in that backfield. They got to get that pass rush. They got to get some sacks, quarterback hits, knock them to the ground, make them uncomfortable.
Stuff the run.
Stuff the run. Have them hurting throughout the whole game. Those two are gonna be definitely key for me. So those defensive ends, the edge rush, the pass rush in general.
Yeah. So then we all picked defensive linemen here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I said, you got to win in the trenches. You got to win in the trenches.
Yes,
all right. It's time. You got to pick our big winner. Drum roll, please. So I ran a poll on X or Twitter, if you still want to call it that. And, 77 people vote on the poll. So shout out to those 77 people. And the poll results are so far, Michigan is picked as the winner, 55% to Washington 45. So, our people on X has Michigan. The odds makers have Michigan by 4.5. Who do you have, Noah, as the winner?
I know that you pointed out I'm wearing purple, but on this one, I gotta go take Jim Harbaugh's Wolverines on this one, man. Defense is just too dominant. I mean, points like you said, points per game in the season is like 9.5 or something. Pass yards per game, 218, or no, 150. Points against, like, it's crazy. Their down efficiency is still really low. Yeah, it's just very hard for me to count against that, especially when they have a very capable offense with moving down the field. So yeah, that's who I think will win the national championship in 2024.
All right, Michigan. I think it's going to be a good game.
I think so too.
I think it's going to be. I'm hoping it's a good game. Last year, oh my God! Last year, do you remember last year?
I do. Man,
I'm hoping we at least have something better, something a little bit more closer.
Yeah.
I've grown to like Washington. I became a big fan of Michael Penix. I hope he does well at the next level. However, I can't ignore the mission that Michigan been on this whole season. Last year they came up short. They was an upset against TCU. They're gonna look to right their wrongs. Like we both said, their defense is just amazing. Big Ten football, besides SEC, rules the country.
Yep.
Matter of fact, if you go look at the stats, the top defenses in the country, Big Ten. Big Ten.
Okay.
So I got to roll with Michigan. And it might be maybe like a kind of low scoring affair because Michigan likes to play that type of style, if they limit your points. So I can see like a 27-20 victory for Michigan. So
I was just about to ask, like, what do you think? What would you take on the over/under on 40 for this game?
Well, I said 27-20, so that's over. So I mean, I think Washington will hit them, a few times, but I think at the end of the day, when it gets down to the wire, I think Michigan's defense is gonna, they're gonna pull it off. I think they're gonna be consistent the whole game. So I'll take the over for 40.
Yeah, I'd take it slightly too. Honestly, I think it'd go a little over 40.
Do you have a score?
I would probably say something similar to you, probably like 24 or 27-21. Yeah. I feel like I definitely agree that Washington will put up a good fight. I just think Michigan will come out on top.
Right. So there you have it, folks. We both have Michigan winning the game. I have Blake Corum for the MVP. Who you got for the MVP?
MVP?
Yeah. Is it McCarthy?
Probably.
Yeah, probably McCarthy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll see what happens. National championship game this Monday, January 8th. We'll be locked in. We'll be watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching Extra Pass National Championship Edition 2024.